Eno, it's Brian Kenny. How are you?
I'm doing good. We could dedicate this season to the word small sample size, I think.
Right, exactly. So now we're testing the limits because we know when we say, well, anything can happen. Well, not anything. So just venture into those waters. How crazy do you think it could be, or are things going to be more toward the norm than we think on the by and large?
I think we'll see some outsized batting averages, but just to hit 400, when you're talking about like, oh, Cody Bellinger hit 400 to begin the season last year, and there are stretches all the time where people hit 400. That's true, but again, the sample is you have a whole long season to fit these little hot stretches into.
Right.
We only have 60 games, so you have to have the luck of having that awesome 60-game stretch in these 60 games.
So, let's start with this. Let's go piece by piece on this now. The Tigers winning the World Series or making the playoffs even. I take it that's Jason Stark getting crazy with his crazy thoughts. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he kind of looked at it from what's happened in the past. And so he showed that there were a couple of really bad teams and really good teams that had stretches that were completely different than you'd expect. The Rockies last year had a 37-win streak in a 60-game stretch. And so basically you're saying they will maybe not be a great team, but they could have a great 60-game stretch and make it. And the way that I tried to look at it was, well, how many bad teams have made it to the World Series? And surprisingly, we've had about 5 or 6 teams that had the run differential of a mediocre team, of basically a 500 team. That made it to the World Series. So I kind of use that as the basis to say the Tigers have, about a 1% chance.
Yeah, we're like next to nothing. Yeah, I'm not saying a 500 team, but we don't expect the Tigers, even in a 60-game season, to get near 500, right?
Right. To be technical, I kind of gave mediocre teams a 1% chance. So that's a little bit more. I had some teams that were projected to be about 500 or have like a 500 type run differential, and that was more like the Diamondbacks and Rangers. So to be fair, that would be those would be teams that would kind of fit into past teams. But there's projected into this kind of stuff, and then what actually happens. So if the Tigers play to around 500 and then make it all the way to the World Series, it could happen.
So here's one, though. Yankees missed the playoffs, right? And so a lot of things would have to go wrong, but that doesn't sound so crazy. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, that one was the most possible out of the ones that we looked at. And I was looking at about a quarter chance, a 25% chance that could happen, that a great team will miss the playoffs. And it just has to do with, I think, less time to separate yourselves from the pack. So a great team like the Yankees and Astros, 100-win teams, they just keep winning, and they separate. And, so teams usually miss the playoffs by 5 or 6 games on average. And this year they're going to miss by 1 or 2. And so if the Yankees just have a couple things go wrong and they're 29, and 28 with the last weekend coming in, maybe they don't make it.
Yeah, Yankees' worst stretch last year, 37-23. But to your point, if you slide down to 33 or 32 wins, maybe you don't make it, right? So that could happen. I want to get to something else. I think with you on this, Luis Arias of the Twins could hit 400. Let's not even go 423. But do you think that's possible that anybody, including Arias, who's a batting average player, could hit 400?
Yeah, the chance that he does it is like 1 in 300 or something. It's like a really small number. But the chance that somebody like him does it, that maybe one of the top 10 projected batting average guys, like Mike Trout is on that list, the chance that somebody does it is closer to 5%. And I honestly think 2020 owes us this one.
I agree. And why Matt Boyd of the Tigers? I know, let's pick a pitcher that you're not thinking of that could have a great run. Why would you pick Matt Boyd or Jason Stark pick Matt Boyd?
Rob Maines over at Baseball Perspectives did a really cool study, and we actually have a 60-game season, kind of. 1981 was 2 halves, and they were both about 60 games. So he looked at that, and he looked at the types of pitchers that did well in that season, in those 2 half seasons. And Bert Hooton is our champion. And basically, Bert Hooton and a bunch of other guys that did really well in 1981, they did not strike more batters out than they normally struck out. They did not really walk, batters at a different rate. They cut their home run rate in a third. And basically, that's home run rate is the largest bit of noise for pitchers. We don't know a pitcher's true home run rate for almost 2.5 seasons. So in 60 games, we're going to know almost nothing about it. And so therefore, I looked at a bunch of pitchers that had great home run and strikeout rates, but bad home run rate. Great strikeout and walk rates, but bad home run rates. And Matt Boyd is at the top of that list.
Okay.
So we're just saying he's going to do the strikeout and walk thing, and he's going to get lucky on home runs.
All right, good stuff. Eno Sarris, it's up on The Athletic now between Eno and Jason Stark. Eno, thank you so much.